We all love a good rock anthem, but what happens when our favorite bands release absolute disasters? In today's countdown, we reveal 10 rock albums so shockingly bad, they're almost legendary for it. Whether it's bizarre experiments gone wrong, controversial collaborations, or albums that spelled the end of careers, these musical flops became unforgettable for all the wrong reasons. Trust me, you'll never look at these bands the same way again.
I am a chorus of the voices that gather up.
When Velvet Underground visionary Lou Reed teamed up with thrash metal titans Metallica in 2011, many expected an art rock revelation. Instead, Lulu delivered 90 minutes of dirge-like riffs beneath Reed's haunting spoken-word tales of torment. The unlikely union produced almost no melodies, only dissonant tension, highlighted by the meme-ready line, "I am the table," on single The View. Longtime Metallica followers looked for James Hetfield's trademark growl, while Reed's devotees hoped for avant-garde insight, yet neither camp found comfort. Reviews branded the record bloated, self-indulgent, and borderline unlistenable, and sales quickly matched that verdict. Even band members later conceded surprise at the universal backlash. Rather than shattering boundaries, Lulu became a cautionary study in unchecked ambition, proof that iconic names alone can't guarantee coherence when creative visions clash. If that big-budget misfire shocked you, the next album proves that amateur chaos can be even more unforgettable. When sisters Dorothy, Betty, and Helen Wiggin entered a New Hampshire studio in 1969, they had never played a proper gig, barely knew their instruments, and were there only because their superstitious father believed destiny demanded it. The result, Philosophy of the World, sounds like a group discovering music in real time. Guitars wander out of tune, drums set their own private tempo, and vocals tumble over half-remembered melodies. Yet beneath the chaos lies an earnest innocence that makes each misstruck note strangely hypnotic. Critics initially dismissed the record as amateur nonsense, and it vanished, until outsiders like Frank Zappa praised its pure weirdness, elevating it to cult status. Today, fans cherish the album not despite its flaws, but precisely because its imperfections feel unfiltered, honest, and completely unlike anything made on purpose. From innocent incompetence, we jump to a veteran rocker scrambling to sound futuristic and falling flat. In 1993, Billy Idol attempted to reboot himself as a leather-clad prophet of the virtual age with Cyberpunk, a concept album steeped in rave beats, sampling, and William Gibson references. Idol packaged the record with a floppy disk and hosted early internet chats, hoping to prove he was more hacker than hair metal holdover. Unfortunately, the songs told a different story. Stiff techno loops clashed with power chord cliches, while lyrics about data stream rebels sounded like corporate training videos trying to be edgy. Lead single Shock to the System offered a decent chorus, yet its Cyber Riot video felt unintentionally camp. Critics accused Idol of desperate trend chasing, and longtime fans pined for the swagger of Rebel Yell. Sales tanked, and the supporting tour played to half-filled halls. Cyberpunk now survives as a kitschy relic of dial-up optimism catching a rock star off guard. Idol's digital dreams fizzled, but the next record shows what happens when a classic band presses on without its irreplaceable frontman. After Jim Morrison's death in July 1971, the surviving Doors refused to quit, rushing into the studio to craft other voices as a statement of resilience. Keyboardist Ray Manzarek and guitarist Robbie Krieger traded lead vocals, yet their earnest deliveries could not replicate Morrison's hypnotic menace. The lyrics retreat into laid-back California musings, a stark contrast to the apocalyptic poetry fans craved. Extended pieces like Ships with Sails drift on jazzy improvisations that feel competent but inconsequential, while Tightrope Ride hopes to swagger but never catches fire. Critics admired John Densmore's crisp drumming and the group's chemistry, yet most sensed an unfillable void at center stage. Initial sales were respectable, but interest faded quickly, and Other Voices now stands as a sober lesson. Remove one visionary, and a once dangerous band can sound curiously polite. Morrison's absence hurt, yet even a full reunion can go wrong, as Mötley Crüe found out in the 90s. After After 6 turbulent years apart, Mötley Crüe reunited with vocalist Vince Neil in 1997, promising a thunderous return to sleaze rock glory. Instead, the band delivered Generation Swine, an uneasy cocktail of glam riffs, industrial samples, and alternative angst. Producer Scott Humphrey drenched the mix in Pro Tools trickery, scrubbing away the raw decadence that once defined the crew. Songs like Afraid and the saccharine ballad Brandon swing between pop hooks, processed guitars, and jittery electronic beats, giving the record a patchwork mood. Critics questioned whether the group was chasing 9 Inch Nails, Smashing Pumpkins, or Cher's soon-to-be auto-tuned experiments. Fans recoiled at the abrupt makeover, and sales collapsed after an initial curiosity spike. The pratfall deepened internal rifts and proved that you can't simply graft 90s trends onto a neon-soaked legacy without losing the plot. Speaking of fractured groups, our next stop is a swamp rock powerhouse that tried democracy and drowned.
Keep on choosing. Keep on choosing.
By 1972, tensions inside Creedence Clearwater Revival had boiled over, prompting frontman John Fogerty to hand songwriting and vocal duties to his bandmates in a gesture of democracy, or quiet sabotage depending on whom you ask. The resulting record, Mardi Gras, finds bassist Stu Cook and drummer Doug Clifford gamely stepping forward, yet their pedestrian compositions expose just how vital Fogerty's voice and pen had been. Numbers like Take It Like a Friend and Sail Away wander without the swampy bite or melodic snap fans expected, while Fogerty's few contributions feel perfunctory. Reviewers branded the album an audible divorce proceeding, and Fogerty later called it the worst record made by a major band. Sales sputtered and Creedence folded within months. Today, Mardi Gras stands as a cautionary tale of how forced equality can sink a once unstoppable hit machine. When leadership collapses, it stings, but sometimes even steady captains can steer off course. Just ask Black Sabbath. By 1995, Black Sabbath's lineup had changed so often the family tree resembled tangled headphones. For Forbidden, guitarist Tony Iommi stuck with vocalist Tony Martin, but hired Body Count's Ernie C to produce and invited rapper Ice-T to narrate the opener, Illusion of Power. The finished album felt neither modern nor classic, brittle drum programming, indistinct guitars, and lyrics slogging through cliches without the occult charge of earlier Sabbath. Ice-T's cameo, though brief, alienated purists, while younger listeners found nothing edgy enough to matter. Reviews labeled the project lifeless and oddly thin, and Iommi has since called it a rushed contractual exercise. The record failed to chart in America and quickly disappeared from set lists, lingering as an awkward reminder that even the architects of heavy metal can lose their bearings. That ill-advised cameo felt awkward. Up next is a punk legend sabotaged by drum machines and office politics. When guitarist Mick Jones and drummer Topper Headon were dismissed, Joe Strummer pressed on under the Clash banner, but 1985's Cut the Crap sounds like a band in name only. Manager Bernard Rhodes seized production duties, stuffing the tracks with cheap drum machines, tinny synth stabs, and terrace-style chant choruses that bury the surviving musicians. Opener Dictator barrels ahead yet feels robotic. We Are the Clash tries to assert identity, only underscoring its absence. Strummer's impassioned vocals fight the plastic arrangements, and he later disowned the record, admitting the title proved grimly accurate. Critics derided the album as a soulless cash-in, and longtime fans shut the book on the band. Within months, the Clash dissolved, leaving Cut the Crap as a painful final footnote to one of punk's most incendiary careers. If you thought the Clash sounded unrecognizable, wait until you hear Van Halen with a brand new singer. After weathering the David Lee Roth and Sammy Hagar eras, Van Halen made their boldest gamble in 1998 by recruiting Extreme frontman Gary Cherone. Sadly, Van Halen 3 felt more like a disjointed side project than a rejuvenated band. Eddie Van Halen seized near-total creative control, stretching tracks past 6 minutes, adding brooding piano passages, and even singing one himself. The trademark party rock spark evaporated. Singles Without You and Fire in the Hole trudged instead of soared, and Cherone's theatrical vibrato never meshed with the muscular riffs. Critics cited aimless structures and a glaring shortage of hooks, while loyal fans balked at the gloomier tone. Sales plummeted, the tour sputtered, and Sharon departed within a year. Van Halen 3 endures chiefly as the oddity that broke the band's multi-platinum streak. After that identity crisis, we finish with a star-studded tribute that mangled rock's most sacred masterpiece. In 1978, Hollywood tried to bottle Beatlemania with a star-studded film adaptation of Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band featuring the Bee Gees, Peter Frampton, and a cavalcade of cameos. The accompanying soundtrack transforms revolutionary pop into a Vegas revue. Soaring harmonies smothered beneath disco strings, canned horn blasts, and glossy Broadway sheen. Frampton's sweet tone lacks Lennon's bite, and the Bee Gees' falsettos push epics like A Day in the Life toward high-budget karaoke. Even sturdier guests, Aerosmith on Come Together, Earth, Wind & Fire on Got to Get You Into My Life, can't offset the kitsch overload. Reviewers lambasted the project as a cynical cash grab, and veteran Beatles fans recoiled. Although Curiosity propelled initial platinum sales, its reputation crashed with the films, making the record a perennial on worst soundtrack lists and a warning that some masterpieces resist repackaging. These disasters prove that even legends can stumble spectacularly. Did we miss your favorite musical train wreck? Let us know your picks.